For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in on your favorite podcast app, and a special hello to all the mothers out there. This is going to be one mother of a show. Thanks for listening today. Now, if you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know that I don't generally get very specific about my relationships with my family, right? I mean, I'll tell a funny story about my mom or something, you know, like the silly that happened with my dad. Or I've never really given like serious story like, oh, you know, my dad just had to have surgery because I've never really opened up about things like that, whether it's on the radio or on social media. I've never really posted. Even when, you know, my grandma died of corona, I didn't do a big, just to let everybody know, you know, you're with the angels. I've never done things like that. But I felt compelled, given what happened with my mother a few days ago. And you know it's serious when I'm using the word mother, just because it's always mom. Or actually I call her Dragon. You know, jokingly I call her Dragon. When I'm using the full word mother, you know it's serious. Just like when your mom gave you crap and used your full name, right? First name, middle name, last name, you knew you were in shit. Well, I'm using the word mother, and so you know that I'm serious about my story today. It's, you know, it's sad, and it had me shook. That's my explanation for it. See, now you're going to be on the edge of your seat. You're going to stay tuned, because right after this, we're going to get into the story here on The Scribble.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secret to losing 3 to 5 pounds a week without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt RX. For the last 2 decades, we've helped countless people lose thousands of pounds. And now, it's your turn. Learn how to lose weight with one simple phone call and no prescription needed. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a risk-free money-back guarantee. So, if you're ready to start losing weight, call right now and get a free month supply with your first order of Body Sculpt RX. Call now. You have nothing to lose but the pounds. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. That's 800-459-6838.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer. Save the money, save the hassles, and get the better blue pill. Dial 800-578-0179. That's 800-578-0179. 800-578-0179.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. I'm going to paint the picture for you. I'm going to set the scene, all right? It is a lovely Sunday summer afternoon. What are you going to do, right? You could maybe go with your partner for a walk and get some ice cream. You can take the dogs for a swim. You can go to the beach with the kids. You can get together with a group of friends on a patio. Maybe even have a barbecue at somebody's house, right? Lots of opportunity to have a good time on your weekend. It's your weekend, right? You've worked, what do they say, working hard for the weekend, whatever. I don't even know the song lyrics. Anyway, So I, being a grown person who is a homeowner and I've owned my house for 15 years. I'm 39 years old, turning 40 very shortly. And last summer was my accountant's 50th birthday. Now, with shutdowns and lockdowns, we weren't able to do a big hurrah, right? That's a milestone birthday. You want to do a big celebration. Now, when I say that we couldn't, it was because of the lockdowns and shutdowns, and where we're from, get this, and I think I might have talked about this on the show before, where we're from, there were actual restrictions that you could not have somebody even in your backyard if they didn't belong to your household. There was, absolutely true, a snitch line for you to report people not following those rules, violating the health order. So there was actually a snitch line if you had somebody in your backyard to phone it in. Needless to say, we did not have a big birthday party for her. Fast forward a year, things have reopened. One of our colleagues has a cottage out at the lake, not far coincidentally from a couple of my family members. And it was sort of like, hey, you know what? It's birthday weekend. Let's, why do we do a barbecue? We've always kind of talked about this in recent, years, basically. Let's do a barbecue. Let's have a good time. Okay, perfect. So you'd think, being a 39-year-old grown-up, that you're cool to just kind of take off for the day, right? We load up the dogs in the car, we go out to the lake. Now, so this was Saturday. I'm talking about a full weekend here, right? So that's Saturday. You go hang out with some friends, have a good time. We're gone for the day, not a care in the world. And I'm the type of person, remember I wrote a book called Put Down Your Damn Phone Already. I'm the type of person who, if I'm enjoying the moment, I'm having a good time, my phone is not near me. It's on silent in my pocket. It might even be on a table or in a bag somewhere that we brought. Like, that's just how I am. Because, why not enjoy the company of the people who surround you and live in that moment, right? I'm one of the few. This is where people are already going to disagree with me and go, no, you always have to have your phone just in case something happens. You know what, though? Things happened 20 years ago and we were fine without having a phone right there. You'd have to wait until you got home to listen to the answering machine saying that Auntie Sophie's in the hospital. And you know what? That was fine. It might have been, stressing and inconvenient, but we also didn't have expectations of that instant contact as we do now. Nevertheless, I digress. And so Saturday, got the husband and the dogs. We're out having a good time with people out at the lake, and things are great. We come back quite late that night. So now it's Sunday morning. That's generally the time that are we getting crackling on the microphone? Already we've got audio issues, and the microphone is like, JB, let's ease up. Don't raise your voice. Don't get excited. Settle down. So it's Sunday morning, and, we, again, having written the book, Put Down Your Damn Phone Already, there are no phones in our bedroom upstairs. So phones are left, charging on a counter or table or something downstairs, living room, kitchen, wherever it might be. And so once it's lights out, that's our loss of connection to the outside world. And again, remember, people used to do that for many, many years. Many, many years. You might have your home phone that would ring in the middle of that, but again, how often would that happen with a phone call? It might, sure. And so wake up Sunday morning. That's generally when I go and, I have my super long bath and just kind of ease into it. Husband goes to the gym or, whatever. And then we reconvene at noon or something. Generally, we wake up at let's say 10 or 10:30 in the morning. Sorry for the audio troubles again, everybody. I see it on my screen as I'm talking to you. And Sunday morning, I go and I look, and there's, a few calls from my mom. 3 calls, in fact, before noon. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. My mom is a bit neurotic at times anyway, so if you don't get back to her, you'll get a text. Are you alive? ? And again, it's her way of just hey. And you take it as just that, all right, well, I didn't get around to it. And she's waiting and waiting and waiting. Well, if something was that urgent, give me the direct text message. Hey, Dad's in the hospital. Call me. Hey, call me ASAP. Do that. But that's not what these calls were. My phone transcribes the voicemails, so I see exactly. And it was just like, well, chicken's on sale. I'm at the store if you want me to get some for you. Well, I missed the call anyway. She's probably not at the store 2 hours later, so no biggie, right? Okay. So then there's, so we're now at noon or whatever the hell time it is. And then there's a text going, hey, what? Well, but by this point now, Sunday is family day in my household, family being husband and 2 dogs. We're going to go out to the country again, the other side of the lake this time, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to meet up with some people we haven't seen in a long time. I actually, coincidentally, hadn't seen one of the people for almost 20 years now. And we ended up going to a casino later, and we're at the casino, and believe it or not, there's actually the conversation, just like I told you about, oh yeah, no, we're of that generation where we can leave our phone for hours. And I made a point of saying to two of the gals I was with, it was a girls' day, I said, you know what, we've been here talking for 2, maybe almost 3 hours, and we haven't looked at our phones. That's just the generation that we are. Little did I know, at the exact same time, roughly around the exact same time, 5 p.m. or so, at the exact same time, my mom, who hadn't heard back from me by a 3 o'clock text of, are you all right, are you alive, are you whatever, 5 o'clock, has shown up at my property, at my house, and according to neighbors, is not just knocking on the door, we're talking fist banging the door, ringing the doorbell manically, ding dong, 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 ding dong. Now, let me tell you, me doing that just now was not even 10 seconds. By reports that I got, it was about 10 to 15 seconds at a stretch of front doorbell ringing, back doorbell ringing, and then, I kid you not, because I can confirm this to be true based on events that transpired on Monday, stay tuned for that, she is calling through windows to my dogs by name. Oh, hey, hey, hey. And there's no response from the dogs because do you know why? Ladies and gentlemen, do you know why? Because the dogs weren't home. And then calling me, standing on chairs, calling through windows that are more, in one case about 7 feet off the ground, another one probably about 10 feet off the ground, calling and trying to look through windows because I didn't reply to a 3 p.m. text, are you all right? Because again, we're out in the country, signal, whatever. I'm with a group of people not paying attention. Everybody is being ignored. Everybody. Work emails, text messages, phone calls. Everybody's being ignored. Everybody. Because I'm celebrating the moment of the people I'm with, right? And then I hear that at 9 p.m., she's back at my house doing the exact same goddamn thing. So in a matter of, let's say an 8-hour day, let's say that I had a regular job and I worked for 8 hours, right? I mean, you could then go and say, well, she would know that you were at work and she'd call your workplace. Well, that's even weirder. Like if I could understand if I was a teenager or something. I'm a 39-year-old man, ladies and gentlemen. I get no financial support from her. That's so, and I did not know that this was happening at the time. And so after a long day, it was a very long weekend of being social and enjoying people's company and celebrating the summer and birthdays and reunions with people. You get home Sunday night and you're kind of just exhausted. You're wiped. You're beat, and you call it a night. Now again, phones are throughout the house, not near us. That there was then a text after midnight. Now technically Monday. There's a text going, I'm worried that you're not getting back to me. Well, we were in bed. I'm sleeping at that point, so for me not to reply at 12:30 in the morning, again, not unreasonable, right? Not unreasonable. But the point is that I'm a grown person, and if I want to go off the grid, as they say, for a day or two, I'm allowed to do that. As somebody who, is very independent in terms of, being an entrepreneur, I can grocery shop by myself. I don't have, any health issues. There's, no concerns. I don't have a drug addiction. I'm not depressed and suicidal. There's nothing wrong to send this woman over the edge within hours of texting and not replying, asking if I wanted chicken breasts from the store. All right? I mean, that's okay. Now, again, a lot of other people, I'm not saying most people, a lot of people would then go and say, oh, maybe he left town for the weekend, whatever. He doesn't need to clear it with me. I might be the mother who gave birth to him, but I'm not a parent anymore. You kind of stop being the parent when your kids leave the nest, and now you're equally now adults, is how I view it. You have no control over my house. You can come here and say that I should wash the dishes, I should do whatever, and I should do whatever. That's your opinion. Fine. But just because you're the mom, the mother, the birth giver, it doesn't give you the right to encroach on your kid's territory. Now, I know the mothers are going to disagree with me, because I got a text from the sister-in-law going, she was concerned about you, blah, 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 blah. Here's the deal. That's fine. That's fine. But then check in with other people. Check in with that sister-in-law. Hey, have you heard from Jeremy? No, why? I haven't heard from him in 5 hours, and I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge. My kid is dead in his house. I've got to get there. I got to get to my kid's house. He's dead. My kid is dead. He's not responding to texts. He's dead. Something happened. He got shot. He was killed. Drowned in the tub. I mean, let's, right? I mean, that's because, let me tell you, the only reason that you show up to someone's house and manically look through the windows and call their name is because you believe they are there unresponsive. There's no other indication, right? He's at work, so let me go to the house and scream for him because the only reason is because you believe I'm there and I can't get to my phone. So from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., or let's even just say by 5 p.m., somehow in her head, I had died. I died. Didn't check in with sister-in-law. Didn't check in with, cousins, family members, whoever. Didn't check in with anybody. Didn't. I'm going to take it upon myself to be a private eye and a stalker and stalk the property, case the joint. So this is where the story gets really good. If you're wondering now, we're halfway through the actual episode, but again, that's it's shit that moms do. So come Monday morning. We're laying in bed, right? The sun's out, the windows are open. We're just kind of like, whatever, slowly easing into the day because Mondays is slow going. I don't wake up at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning to go to work. That's not, I'm the boss. Monday, I'll generally start working at about noon. We do Mims Monday, by the way, at home. I've talked about that on this show, right? We take the bottle of cheap champagne and orange juice up to bed Sunday nights with an ice bucket, and we have a mimosa in bed when we wake up on Mondays. Except the Monday in question, ladies and gentlemen, because we woke up to... Do you hear that? What is that outside? Is that somebody calling me outside? Why do I hear somebody outside my house? It's 9 in the morning. What is that? Whatever. No, that's not. Who would be doing that? All right, fine. Let's just, let's get back to bed, or let's, And then you hear the house alarm squealing. Office, window, alarm. Office, window, alarm. Now, in my house, which I thought was safe, the office has a significant amount of electronic equipment because I, have hosted radio shows. Like it's a different kind of an office that you might have in your house with a printer and a computer. There's, we're producing syndicated radio, and there's significant, substantial equipment, right? And so there's the window in my office is alarmed, like, not Fort Knox, but it's alarmed real good. And so I'm upstairs and I'm just like, oh my God. Now we don't have phones upstairs, so I can't go and call the cops, somebody, but who's breaking into a house at 9 in the morning, right? Who's breaking into a house at 9 in the morning? A crazed batshit mother. Strap yourself in for this one. I'm sitting there going, that can't be right. My alarm's going off. All right, let's just stay up here quietly with the dogs, and then maybe the person's not going to get in because, they're going to see that they're kind of high up. It's like the window's in sort of a weird place anyway. But then you kind of hear faintly, because again, it's a larger house and we're upstairs and there's a loft, so there's a half wall and things. I'm like, that is my name. Wait a second. That sounds like, that can't be my mom. Why? Because who's going to expect that a mother is going to be coming through a window that's 7 feet off the ground? You just don't think that. You don't think that's going to happen. That's not what I'm hearing. I can't see what's going on, but that's not what's happening. And sure as shit, ladies and gentlemen, the voice gets closer, and I get to the top of the stairs. I sleep in underwear. I get to the top of the stairs, standing in my underwear, and there is my mom at the base of the stairs in the hallway. Now, I'm not lying. Now, I'm going to be... This is full disclosure here, everybody. I did not sugarcoat things. I F-bombed probably more than I ever have in my life. I was F-bombing. What the fuck are you doing here? Why the fuck are you in my house? What the hell is going on? Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Because the alarm is squealing. The dogs are scared and pissing on the floor behind me going, what is happening here? Why is the alarm going nuts? Why is Dad freaking out? My mother broke into my house, climbed through a window 7 feet off the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the absolute truth. Absolute truth. My plants that were on a bookshelf underneath the windowsill, on the ground outside. Curtain torn, shredded. I'm losing it. I'm screaming. Get the fuck out. What the fuck? Then I hear my dad through the window. And so then I was like, my dad is here too? What is going on here? What is happening? My dad's the accomplice. Either he's holding the chair that she's standing on. We later then see there are chairs at each window that's facing the back of the house. Either he's holding the chair or he's boosting up a 60-some-year-old woman with the old lady fat Ukrainian ass wedged through, coming through a window to break into the kid's house. Now, this is again where I'm going to say the moms are going to be, well, she was concerned about you. She didn't hear from you, whatever. I'm not even having that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even having that. There are channels, there are things that you do that, like I said, she knows that I don't wake up until about 10 or 10:30 most days. She knows that because, here's why I can tell you she knows that, because she criticizes. Why? It's so late sleeping, and you've slept away half the day at that point. Why would you show up at 9 o'clock, a time before give it until, it's a Monday after a weekend in the summer. Give your kid maybe until noon then. Hey, haven't heard from you. Not uncommon for people to do that. If I even text my accountant on a Saturday, I'm not in a panic that I haven't heard from her by Sunday. You can go and say that it's a different relationship, but that's your mom, that's whatever. I'm a grown-ass man, people. I'm a grown-ass man. Then that's just not, it's not a cop-out. You can't go and say she's the mom, she was concerned. Then you call the cops and you say, I'd like to do a welfare check. Okay, on what basis? He hasn't responded to my texts in 5 hours. Lady, really? Call us in 4 days if you still haven't heard from him. And I kicked her out of the house. I did. I called her names. I called her fucking psycho. I called her names, and I actually told her to get out. I kicked her out of the house. And then she's got the fake crying tears, the fake sort of grandma tears. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you being like this? You just fucking broke into my house. This is not about, I don't owe anybody. I am not obligated to reply to anybody. Let's say even a husband. Now that might cause problems in your relationship, but I choose to whom and when I reply. Okay? That's my prerogative. That's anybody's prerogative. Unless, I guess, you're on parole and you've got to report to a parole officer. Okay, sure. Maybe there's an asterisk on that one. But it's up to me when and how I reply to somebody, if at all. That's on me. Doesn't matter your relationship with me, that's on me. I know that certain relationships hold a closer, place in my heart. Okay, fine, sure. But your kid is being social on a Sunday. There's no indicators that he's even home. Or that dogs are home. One thing if you hear dogs whining and crying and you hear the pitter-patter of feet on the floor going, oh my God, they're starving, whatever. There's crickets in the house, people. The house was empty, save for the rabbit, who, is in a completely different other area of the house that she wasn't, calling through a window. There was nobody or any animal in the house. It was an empty house. The neighbors are like, she was at your house twice, by the way, Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. Okay? So I want to know your thoughts on this, people. live@jbonair.com is the email address. live@jbonair.com. What do you do in that moment? What is your reaction Because again, remember, this is all coming at you at left field. If you don't know you didn't know what transpired the day before, okay? At this point, I did not know that she was at my house at least twice, that she was seen. I did not know that, okay? So this is almost equivalent to, the cops kicking in your door, looking for you, and you're kind of like, why? Why? I'm fine. Can you explain to me? Like, oh, I'm missing? Oh, okay. I didn't know that, but thanks. Right? Because, and I'm sure the cops would have said, trust me, we would have had lawsuits. If doors would have been kicked in and damage to my house, more so than what I just described with plants and curtains, there's lawsuits and somebody's paying for that. That's not going on my insurance claim. No siree. No siree. Because what would give you the right? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Is that, oh, well, I'm his mom and he hasn't responded for a few days. I haven't, maybe she would lie and say a few days. For a few hours. I'm not kidding you. It was 11:29 a.m. and then 3 p.m. exactly on the dot. And by all accounts, the 5 o'clock hour and the 9 o'clock hour, she had already descended on the property. And again, bang, 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 ding dong, 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 ding dong. Jeremy, Bruno, Charlie, Bruno. And you're getting nothing. You're getting nothing. On 2 separate visits, hours apart. So it stands to reason I'm going to go there Monday before he will even wake up and literally break in through a window. One of my friends said, press charges. Have her charges, file a police report, trespassing, break and enter. She didn't steal anything, but she still, that's trespassing. If I know my definitions of crime. I'm not going to go to court for, I'm not going to, whatever. I'm not going to go and say, well, let's go to Judge Judy because you tore my curtains and ruined 2 plants. But that's going to, it's going to draw the line in the sand. That's going to put it out there, right? Now, let me tell you one more other quick story. Oh, I got to go already. Look at that. We're at the end of the show. Now, let me just also give you one more thing, because you might be siding with her, and I'm going to give you a piece of background here. That when my grandma had dementia several years ago, she was repeatedly calling my mom. Upwards of, I would even say 40 to 70 times a day, leaving messages on the answering machine. And at one point, several occasions, my parents would say to me, oh my God, Baba is what we call Grandma. Baba, she won't stop calling. She's calling every 20 minutes. So they were screening. They were ignoring her calls. And purposely doing that. Now, this is a woman that had dementia and was sick, clinically sick, who lived on her own and might have fallen and needed help, or might have, this is also a woman who was opening the door for strangers because they rang the doorbell, right? I mean, this is somebody who yes, it was excessive, that amount of calls, but she didn't know any better. She wasn't doing it to be a nuisance. She didn't know. So in this regard, my parents go and say, call us on the cell. We're not answering the phone. We're not answering the house phone. So let me tell you then, right? You're ignoring somebody who is sick and could potentially need your help. So in turn, now we're talking, like I said, a few hours on a Sunday, that your kid, let's say, was purposely ignoring you. Let's just say. But it's your kid's prerogative to do that if he wants to. He owes you, he's under no obligation. And even ask my husband, he will go and say, yeah, nobody's going to tell Jeremy what to do. You tell Jeremy what to do, duck. Cover your balls and duck. So, like that. So I go and think about that, wait a second now here. You guys hid out from her and ignored her calls for a very long time, and would even flee and go out to the city and use your cell phone, call us on the cell, because she doesn't have that phone number. But yet when the tables are turned, it's not okay for the kid to do that to who I would think is a like-minded person. Now I question that. I question my mental diagnosis of the mother. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. The crazy shit that moms do on the Scribble.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley back on The Scribble. So again, how do you respond to your mom when she does a B&E on your house? And tell me your other funny mom stories. Live at jbonair.com. Jeremy Bradley, talk to you next time on The Scribble.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some